Recording in progress. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. If you're watching this, it is 4 o'clock on a Thursday. It's talk time with Dr. Donny. Okay, so if you're watching this, I just have to say I've been spending the entire day playing a video game. I need a little time to stretch. So why don't we start today's class with a little stretching time? Just take a moment to stretch before I say hi to everybody or go into some spiel about who I am and whatnot. Just take a moment to just stretch, get in touch with your body. This whole class is about getting in touch with your feelings anyway, so honor whenever feelings come up for you. I have been playing a video game for the past all day, since about 10 o'clock actually. Not something I do often. Maybe once a year, really, in the summertime. I'm really taking in how playing video games is rough on your neck. Things I would never have thought about as a child, but are pretty important now as an adult to be mindful of. Also, all kinds of everybody's coming back to work now, so somebody brought donuts. I haven't had a donut in about a year and a half since the COVID-19 started, but today I ate 4 donuts. How wonderful. How wonderful. Okay, so this is Talk Time with Dr. Donny, and my name is Dr. Donny. I am a sociology professor at CSU East Bay. I teach a variety of classes on, race, class, gender, sexuality, and I've gotten into what's called social emotional learning, which is all about processing, getting in touch with your feelings, thoughts and feelings. And so through that, I am now teaching these classes called Emotions for Dummies. And there's a beginners Emotions for Dummies, an intermediate, and an advanced class. They're all a month each. And this month, we take a break from that to have just talk time. And for talk time, I am my job here is really there's a few things I can do. I can listen, understand, validate, and I suppose also offer information. Information about how feelings work. You can share personal experiences and stories. Listen, understand, and validate. LUV, love. So the idea for this space is just to provide a real open space for anybody to come and get some help for their feelings. And then if for any reason nobody comes, then I will work on my own feelings, and I run through my own exercises as well. So whatever happens in this space, healing occurs. That's the beauty of it. Okay, and I like to start class always by just asking, how's everybody feeling today? You are always more than welcome to talk, type, emoticon, or just say, hey, I'm just gonna just lean back and listen today. It's an open space. It's an open space, and it's important to honor whatever it is you actually feel. That would be the whole point of this, right? Yeah. So how are you feeling today? I gave some clues as to how I'm feeling today. I played a video game all day. I didn't say my feeling there, but I'm feeling exhausted. I don't feel like working anymore, so I played a video game all day. I'm feeling relaxed. That's not the word I want to use. I want to say I'm feeling upbeat. I'm feeling upbeat because I played that video game all day. And I'm also feeling Strained. My neck feels strained. My computer screen's up here, so I look up here all day. So my neck feels strained. I feel upbeat and strained. Hmm. So anyone else? Anyone else? How are you feeling today? Anyone else want to tell me how they're feeling? I'm gonna turn on the chat here too. In case anyone want to type an answer in. How are you feeling today? You know, oh, here we go. I am feeling fatigued, grateful, excited, sad. Oh, well, how wonderful to give all of us such a wide variety of feelings here. We got a nice cornucopia of feelings here. So let's go through these. Let's honor this. Let's honor this one at a time here. I'm feeling fatigued. Just give yourself a moment to honor that feeling. Fatigued. You know, at the end of the day, I feel that way often. I feel that way often, and I often kind of just barrel it under so I can just focus on getting home to mid dinner. You know, or I focus on getting in the car and turning on NPR, or complaining about the traffic, or complaining about how NPR never seems to get the programming on NPR doesn't get any better. But I find myself focusing on other things instead of honoring the fatigue. Fatigue, I feel. My neck feels very fatigued right now. Let's just honor that. Honor that. Mentally fatigued. Well, hey, just a little fun fact for you there. The body processes physical pain and mental pain in the same way. So, if you're ever having a hard time with something mental, just take note of how you process things on a physical level, because it's all the same thing, okay, or are very closely related. So yeah, the times you feel mentally fatigued and the times you feel physically fatigued, there may be something in common there that's worth looking at. At the end of the day, I'm often mentally fatigued. But hey, if I went to the gym, I might be tired also. Hey, you know what? Also, I tend to ignore when I'm physically exhausted until I reach a point where I can't ignore it anymore because I just can't move. My body just I just want to collapse. That's interesting. I tend to push through my feeling fatigued. I push through and push through. That's worth. Why I feeling sleepy? Well, I don't know why you're feeling sleepy. I would say though, a person who was fatigued, and well, a person feeling all these different feelings, fatigued, grateful, excited, and sad, you might just you might just be exhausted. That's a lot of energy to have all those feelings there. Okay, let's try another one here. Grateful. Let's go with grateful. Let yourself just feel grateful. Grateful to have a job. Grateful to have some place to go all day that has air conditioning. All these feelings are kind of swirling around in my day all the time. And I don't really sit with them. Grateful to have someone who's grateful to have people coming back to work. Grateful to have someone who brought donuts. I think I'm feeling sleepy because the energy used to process these emotions are exhausting my body. I'd say. Although, I'd say, I'd say the better you get at processing them, maybe it won't take so much energy. Also, it takes energy not just to process the emotions, it takes energy to sort of not process them. Because emotions tend to just kind of flow through us. So when we block them up, repress, deny, avoid, evade, that's when they tend to drain our energy. That's when they tend to drain our energy. We keep blocking and avoiding them also. So yeah. So let's just get in touch with the flow of all this. Grateful, fatigued, excited, excited, excited. What does that feel like? Hey, take a moment, scan your body. What does excited feel like? If it helps, think of something that would make you feel excited. Roller coasters. A really great piece of cheesecake. You thought you had to be here all day at work, and it turns out it's only a half day. Or it's a 3-day weekend. You totally forgot. Excited. Excited. See what that feels like? Compare that feeling to fatigued. Compare it to fatigue. See how different that feels. That is the range of your whole emotional universe, from excited to fatigue, from happy to sad. That is the whole range of your emotional universe. It's funny because the human mind is infinite. So we can move from happy to sad, feeling like it's the greatest success ever to the greatest failure. We can move that quickly in the brain. We can move that quickly. But then we will rarely actually take the time to just sit with the feelings. So we just move, 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 and that can be exhausting. That can be exhausting also. It can just be so worth it to just sit with what you're feeling, putting into words, just sitting with it, honoring what comes up for you. Taking note of the judgments we put on our feelings. It's just energy flowing through us. It's just energy flowing through us. And if we don't sit with it, then we're just missing out on the energetic experience of our own lives. There's so much gratefulness I could have really opened up to today. Yeah. Well, let me ask, does anyone else have any feelings? Anyone else feeling anything? Make sure I get everybody's feelings today. I like your squishmallow on your shelf. Thank you. A student recommended one of these. They mentioned it in class, and last year was all the pandemic, so I was teaching online like I am now. So I went to Google one of these things, and I was so moved. I had to get one. This is my emotions buddy. Okay, when we're having a hard time, he sits right here to help us all through our feelings. I have him. don't know if you can't see him, but I also have this other one here as well. It's a cat with different faces. This is the sad face cat, angry cat, and happy cat. My son's favorite. He has 50 of them. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Trying to do my best to keep up with the kids, you know. One important part of being a counselor, a school counselor, is that keep up with what kids care about. So that's hard to do when you're open to all the influences of what people offer. Okay, but do you have any feelings? Any feelings? Oh, sorry. My for some reason my microphone cuts out the moment my hands get really close, so I have to remember to.
I can hear you now.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Oh, you can. Yeah. For some reason, when my hands get close, it cuts off the mic, so I gotta remember to move my hands over here.
You're dancing now.
And I'll just be dancing instead. Yeah. Okay, so how are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling.
I'm good, except this is not so much about myself, but my 15-year-old son, he was born with neurological disorder. He has intellectual disabilities and autism spectrum disorder. He's completely nonverbal. He cannot talk, and he's still in diapers all day, 24/7. So I take care of him all day, but he's extremely loving and affectionate, and he's a very sweet boy. He doesn't have any behavior issues. He's not aggressive. He's not violent or anything like that. He's a very sweet boy. I just feel bad for him because he doesn't have any friends because he has all these challenges. Like he's not able to speak. So how is he supposed to make friends, you know? And 3 years ago, he's developed a fear of getting in any type of moving vehicles. He's afraid of getting on the school bus. He's afraid of getting in my car. He won't get in anybody's cars. So we're pretty much stuck at home in his homeschool now. But at the same time, he loves people and he wants to be around people. So I take him to the park, which we can walk because it's right across the street from us. We walk there every day, but and he watches the teenagers play basketball in the court, but they won't let him play because he doesn't know really how to play, and he just kind of watches them every day. He just watches them, and you know, I just feel bad for him.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a tough one, right?
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So let's start with the basics here. You feel bad for him, but that's really another way of saying you love him a lot.
Yeah, I do. He's my life.
He's your life.
He's my life. Which is why I buy him a lot of squishmallows because they're like his friends, you know.
Oh, hmm. I see. I see.
Yeah, I see right there.
Hmm. Yeah, he's your life. You love him. You love him
I,
a whole lot.
he's everything to me.
So, so really, you're worried about him.
Yes.
You're just worried about him. Okay. Okay, so let's just take a moment. The worry. The worry. Now, worry's not an easy one. So
No.
let's just sit with the worry for a second. Because more than likely, if you're worried about this, you were worried in the past. And more than likely, if you're worried about this, you're going to worry about stuff in the future too.
I do.
Probably really easily. Yeah. Let's just take a second. Worry. Worry. Just see what goes through your mind when you think about worry. See yourself, like you're just sitting at the park watching joggers. Every jogger is one of your worries. Okay? Well, you're just sitting at the park, you're away from the worry. You're just sitting there watching them go by. There could be all sorts of worries. What will happen when this? What will happen when they get older? What will happen? What happened yesterday? What happened 2 weeks ago? What about this school? What about that? What about that school? What about a different park? What about a different activity? Just watch all the worries. Just watch them all go. Just see all the energy, all the energy you put into worrying. Just breathe slowly. Feel that energy. See if you can slow it down just a little bit. Because another word for worry is just, care, concern. Worry shows us what's important to us. Worry's not even a bad thing. It's just another way of saying I care. Depending on how we use it, just let yourself really get in touch with this feeling. Doesn't have to live in the background. Doesn't have to run our lives in the background. Simply breathe really slowly into this worry. Hey, if this worry itself was a person, ask it, what does it need? When I ask my worry, what do you need? I need space. I need to breathe even slower. I need to recognize that this worrying is not actually going to do anything for the problem. It's just a totally separate thing, you know? Like if I wanted a candy bar and then I worried and worried about the candy bar, that would have nothing to do with whether I get the candy bar or not. I'm just worrying as a way of managing my stressful thoughts and feelings. It doesn't actually solve the situation. It's just a way for me to feel like I have control, really. It's worrying. Just feel that worry. You don't have to like it. Some flavors of ice cream are nice and strawberry and sweet, and some of them are black licorice. All the flavors are needed. All the flavors are needed to feel whole. So just see what this worry feels like. It might feel a little bit like a nail just kind of scratching you. Let's see if you can breathe slowly into it and let go of all that control. Listen to your heart. Take that energy, flow with it into your heart. And whatever happens to your child, this space, let the energy we make our decisions in be one of peace, love, healthy, real healthy love. This worry is here to teach us something. Well, all of God's gifts are here to teach us to let go of control. Let go of control. Just be with that feeling. Oh, children are the greatest gift ever. There's so much control you have to let go of. and especially a child with special needs. But then, you know, because for many, for what's the word I want to use? Developmentally typical children, there's certain milestones. But when you have a child with special needs, you have to reinvent the wheel on how to let go and what that means for you. And oh yeah, oh yeah, that can be that can bring on a lot of worry. That can bring on a lot of opportunity. So just to make space for those feelings. And we're here in a class doing this, but let's be real. What you might be feeling may be intense. So if you whatever honor whatever you're feeling. So if that means taking some time out to shake and cry, get into a car and scream at the top of your lungs to get it out, whatever that means. Okay, I highly recommend doing what you need to get your feelings, get them out. Especially fears, because then we worry and then we feel bad about worrying. And we tend to like suck it all in, and that just makes it worse. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, honoring those feelings, really making a practice of just finding a pillow, getting in your car, screaming at the top of your lungs, getting those feelings out can really help with what to do. Because then after the feelings are out, you can make decisions about what to do about some of these things. Okay, just if you can do one more thing on that one, on the feelings part here. Just let that energy, because the moment we pull out of this, you're going to go right back into those thoughts. And the thoughts are what's really scary. But pulling that energy down into your heart, down into your gut, that's where we really hold a lot of issues around fear and safety. As a parent, I'm sure there's just fear and safety going, issues of fear and safety going on. Ooh, constantly. And if you live in a world where fear and safety issues are going on constantly, it makes logical sense to the brain to just assume fear, assume a state of danger, and then just stay stuck in fear constantly. So then it makes sense just to constantly worry. It's a constant cycle. It's a constant cycle there. It ramps up. And who will you be 5 years, 10 years with all that? The ulcers you will have. So just to make space for that worry. Worry isn't bad. Worry is our best friend here. Our good friend worry is trying to tell us something. Okay, now that we made some space for those feelings, let's just check in for a second. You feel just a little bit eased out? Don't have to have a solution. Yeah?
Yeah. I feel
Good. Oh, good. Good. Yeah. Okay, so now let's try to talk through some of this a little bit here. So, the first thing, I just really hear is that you love him.
I do.
So, um, if you don't mind, I'd like to build on that because that's really what I'm hearing coming through. So, if I said the phrase, I love him, but what would come up for you?
I love him, but worrying is not going to help anything. It's just going to waste my energy.
Okay. So worrying is going to waste your energy. Is that true?
I think so because when I worry, I get really exhausted, but I don't come up with any solutions.
Okay, so just feel that. Just feel that. Come up with any solutions. Exhausted. And so, just out of curiosity, without the thought, worrying is wasting my energy, without that thought, how might you feel about worrying? How would you feel about this situation? Or hey, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's anchor all these feelings into a moment. So I heard you mention your son wants to play with the other children and they don't want to play with him. And so I can see you. I mean, I've never met you, and yet I can see you at the playground with your son. I see that moment happening. Yeah, yeah. My worrying is wasting all my effort. In that moment, just be there. Notice your worrying. So if you didn't have the thought, my worrying is wasting my effort. If you didn't have that thought, and it might sound kind of crazy to even suggest this, but yeah, that thought just wasn't even there, that I'm wasting my energy. Would that have any effect on your feelings?
Hmm.
You ever thought about it?
I don't know.
Okay. So what I'm trying to offer here is this is called cognitive behavioral activity here. Is we take whatever we normally think and we turn it around and look for ways it might the opposite might also be true. That allows us to release the thing we're holding on to.
Okay.
So I'm only suggesting all this because you see, if you see your energy as wasted, then there's no point in sitting with it. It's just something that's just a nuisance. It's just a bother. It's something that you'd rather just get rid of and just cut it off so that way everything can be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, that's like saying, I don't like my hand, so I'll just cut my hand off. My hand's too inconvenient, so I'll just cut it off. If, if everything that's going on with you is important, everything you're feeling is needed to be whole, then this worry is critically important
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
you
Interesting.
and for how you guide your son.
So you're saying that worrying is not a bad thing.
Hmm. Nothing's a bad thing. It all depends on how we look at it. So yeah, let's go there. Let's 3 reasons we are better off worrying. 3 reasons we are better off worrying. Let's sit with that for a second. What's one reason? One reason I am better off worrying, being a chronic worrier. One reason I'm better. How would I be better off if I was a chronic worrier? I would pay attention to all the things that matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would pay attention to details.
Mm-hmm.
The people in my life would know I care.
Mm-hmm.
I would show it. Just let yourself go into that part of you that is the chronic worrier. That part of you that irritates you. Go into that part for a bit. What is the gift? Why is it a great thing that this part of me is here? You're managing the tough reality of being a parent, which is a
Mhm.
long-term job.
It is. And I'm a single parent too.
Man, you got to be tough too. You got to be tough.
I would like to be tough. I don't know. It's tough
Hmm.
to be tough.
You might be learning how to be tough on a whole new level. There's the people who know how to just kind of say something, look tough on the surface, and
Mhm.
there's the people who are really unfazable. No matter what happens, they know how to roll through it because they've been through so many things. That's real. That's real tough. Hmm. Hmm. Hey, also another great reason why you're better off being a chronic worrier. Yeah, you'll always pay attention to your own inner needs.
Mhm.
I mean, it's sort of managing all your needs with a lot of fear, but it's still honoring you have those needs and they're there and they're important.
You think that we worry because we care?
Hmm. I think very much so. We worry because we care.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, the moment where we make something important,
Mm-hmm.
we worry a lot. We worry a lot. Because at that point, it's not good enough to just kind of do it. You have to totally do it. You have to totally do it and be great at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, then you will judge yourself.
Right.
Yeah, you'll judge yourself. You'll shame yourself. Yeah, yeah. So it's amazing actually because you can take two students, and one student took this class because they really cared, and the other one just kind of took it because it just fit in their time schedule. And the student who really cared, might struggle way more even if they're better prepared for the class. Just because really caring makes every moment like a life or death issue.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's actually more loving, maybe, this is just a thought, but maybe it's more loving to care a little less or redirect that energy toward a different kind of care. So, when I think about young children, especially, I think about all those moments. Kids can say anything. Kids can be so cruel sometimes. Just no filter, no filter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think about the things I might have said or things that were said to me as a kid. And I really would want to do everything I could to protect my kid from ever having to feel those painful things.
Yeah.
And that's impossible.
It's impossible. You
That's
can't.
impossible. That's
Mm.
impossible. Human beings, we all have to learn. We all learn by having someone call us some ugly names, and how do we deal with it?
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I used to be so overprotective and sheltering him from everything, and now I feel like, you know, there's always gonna be kids or even adults who are gonna stare at him like, oh, weird, or, you know, I mean, he's gonna have to learn to be resilient. I feel like I have to teach him that skill of resiliency.
Yes. Yes, yes. And the best way to teach him that skill would be for you to learn it first.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
I hear you.
Yes. And
It's
and
easy.
and and the way we're gonna learn it 100% is by honoring everything we feel.
Uh-huh.
You know, resiliency may or may not look like what you think it should look like. You might think in the head it looks like Mr. T, super strong guy. But resiliency is really something in the heart. It's about being able to handle all those situations and make it through and love yourself through it. That's a real resiliency.
He gets really excited when he sees kids on the swinging, especially like babies swinging. He gets all excited. So he jumps up and down and he flaps his arms. And, one dad came up to me and said, "Oh, is that your child? Is he autistic? Because he's scaring my daughter." And he just kept on staring at him, staring at me like he wanted us to just leave the playground. I said, "No, I'm not leaving because he has every right to be here and he's not harming anyone. He's just being excited. He's just jumping up and down and he's laughing and giggling. He's not doing anything wrong. So I'm not going to take him home right now because, you know, he's not doing anything bad." And another time, this gentleman was taking care of adults with special needs. You can tell, right? And you would think that because he's working with adults with special needs, you would think that he would be nice to my son, but no. He just kept on staring at him and then ignoring him when he went up to him. And when he tapped gently on one of the adults, he said to him, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jacob, like, like he's apologizing for my son, and my son did not do anything wrong." I was just really, really, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay, let's just breathe into those examples. Just breathe. Just breathe. You gave those examples. I'm gonna just put some feeling words into what you said there. Just let me know if I'm right or wrong here, but I mean, I'm hearing some crazy disrespect, just total unfairness, rudeness, disrespect.
Yeah, that was tough.
Just yeah. See where that sits in your body. I feel like this heaviness in my heart. I feel this immediate, like I'm about to just rise up in anger.
Hmm.
Just breathe into it. Just breathe into it. Slow it down. If it helps any, imagine something from that situation that you have no opinion about. Like, just the sand, a bug in the background, just something that decharges the situation. You know, well, so just taking responsibility for feelings. This guy said, can you and him leave? You're making my kid nervous." Well, let's be honest. Probably wasn't making the kid nervous. More than likely making him. Making him.
Yeah, I don't think the kid was nervous. I think he was making the dad nervous. He was the one who was scared or something.
Yeah, parents often talk through their children.
They do, they sure do.
They sure do. They sure do. That's why
Yeah.
it's so important to see what we can take responsibility for. They kind of, yeah, see what we can take responsibility for. So you want to be resilient here, and you want to teach him resiliency. So let's use this moment. They're on the swings. The guy comes up to you and says, "You guys leave." If you were a 100% resilient person,
Hmm.
how would that person have handled this situation?
If I was that father.
No, if you were a person who was totally resilient,
Hmm.
just imagine it. You're that ideal person you want to be.
Oh, I see.
How would you have handled that situation?
I would have said, my son's not doing anything harmful to your child, and he has the right to be here at this playground because it's a community playground. So we will stick around.
Okay, okay, okay. So what I'm hearing is you would explain to him, and you would explain to him what you were going to do. You would have been assertive.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been assertive. Okay, okay. So that's one thing right there. I would say in all these situations, every situation of your life is maybe how can you be more assertive?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, let's see.
Sometimes that's hard because I'm not exactly an assertive person to begin with.
Okay, okay. So, some basic things on just being assertive is stating how you feel. Um, uh, if you are really nervous, you still get a right to have a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
the right to note for yourself what that feeling is,
Mm-hmm.
pick the best course of action for dealing with it. You don't have to be an assertive person today, but I think what is important is to see how becoming more assertive
Mm-hmm.
is the way to go for you.
Yeah. I think it just takes practice.
I think it just takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it may be helpful to think about what's at least one assertive thing you can do every day.
Yeah, I think I've become much more assertive over the years. The last 15 years, there were a lot of situations where I had to stand up for my son, whether it's the school, not providing him with what he needs, like speech therapist or an occupational therapist. And it's constant, fight kind of. And every time we are in public, he gets the stares. And so, comparing to 15 years ago, I think I've become much more assertive, but I still have a long way to go.
Okay. So there I heard a but. So let's sit with that. Let's sit with that. From what I'm hearing, you have become a lot more assertive than who you were. So it's not just assertive. There's something else there. But I have a point. Let's feel that. Feel that. But what I hear there is it's still not getting me what I want. What do you want?
To be assertive.
Or maybe you want to be assertive and you want it to be easy.
Yeah. It ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no shortcut for that.
Okay, well, let's see what can we do to make it easier for you to be assertive. Well, one, you started off by saying I'm not always an assertive person, but then we you dug into it and you said actually there are lots of ways you are much more assertive than you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just honor that. You are an assertive person.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
We're having this
Appreciate
whole conversation because you're an assertive person.
appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. The times in life where you're maybe not assertive are the challenges. Those are the peaks, you know. But on an average level, you're probably a very assertive person. You know, you probably don't have people everywhere running your life. You constantly are standing up for your needs and your son's needs. So you are an assertive person.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm gonna stop beating myself up now.
So yeah, yeah. So the number one thing would be to just stop beating yourself up.
Yeah. I think it's for most of us parents who have kids with special needs that there's always this guilt that we feel like because of me he has these special needs, whatever that. I don't know what I mean, I don't do drugs or I don't drink alcohol or anything like that, but I'm a healthy person, and I eat healthy and I exercise, and I don't know how or why he was born with intellectual disabilities and autism. I don't know why, but regardless the reason, he does have it, and I feel like it's my fault, and now he has to deal with so much challenges, not being able to talk. That in itself is a huge challenge because he can't say I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I have a headache, I have a stomach ache, something's bothering me. He can't tell me, he can't tell anyone his thoughts, his feelings. It's like he's trapped inside his own brain. And it's not, I'm sure it's not just me, but I think most of us parents who have children with special needs, we have this guilt that we have to deal with every day. Um, and I think that makes us become more, even more overprotective of them. We want to protect them because they already have enough challenges without the whole world staring at them and making fun of them and excluding them. Yeah, yeah, that's
Well, I do believe that I can hear you on the parents having a lot of guilt and blaming themselves.
mhm.
Let's just feel that. Let's just feel that for a second. You know, that is a heavy load to take on.
Mhm.
I did something wrong to make my kid this way. I must have did something wrong. I'm a bad person because my kid came out this way.
And it doesn't help when your mother-in-law tells you that it is your fault. I mean, my ex-mother-in-law, she said to me, autism doesn't run on our side of the family, so it must be you, she said.
See, well, I'll just say this. I'll say this. We blame because blaming is a way for us to feel control. So they blame, they said something like that, so they can say, oh, it's not us. Put it on you.
Yep.
I have control over it now.
Hmm.
And the same way, you wouldn't wish for your child to have autism, to have these difficulties. So you just take this blame on.
Hmm.
You know, what's a good reason? What's a great reason that your kid has autism? How is your kid better off having autism?
Okay, so he may not have peer pressure to do drugs or alcohol or anything like that, or be hanging out with the wrong crowds, maybe, or not pressure into, you know, drinking, driving, or parties or whatever. I'm not saying that's bad, but as a parent, I don't have to worry about that because he doesn't have any friends. So it's good and bad because you could have good friends, you could have bad friends, right?
Yeah, you avoided a lot of bad friends.
Yeah. and he's safe because he's protected at all time. Um, and he doesn't have that certain pressure like to go to Harvard or like go to the best school and get straight A's and you know have this amazing job that you're getting, like you're making $750,000 a year at Google or whatever. He doesn't have that type of pressure, I guess.
Not even, I guess, he doesn't have that pressure. And that would be a lot of pressure. A job like that would come with a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and the schools, getting you're a doctor, so you have a PhD, right? So that's a lot of pressure, you know. Yeah. And so sometimes I think, who knows, like who's to say that children with special needs are not happy? Maybe they are happy in their own way. We're just making this assumption based on our own perception and how our lives are. That's because they don't have what we have, doesn't mean that they're not happy. Maybe they are very happy.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll say this. Every time you compare your child to what a normal child should be, you will make yourself unhappy.
Right, that's right. Yeah, I need to stop doing that because I'm always saying to myself, regular kids could hang out with their friends, or they can go camping, or have sleepover, and he's never had that before, and I felt bad, so I put him into this city basketball team. So I took him, and it was overwhelming because there were like 50 kids. It was really crowded, and then the referee was whistling the whistle, and that's too loud for him because he has sensory processing disorder too. Um, yeah, he's bothered by certain sounds and loud sounds. So I say, am I doing this for him, or am I doing it for myself? So I can feel better. Like, oh, hey, he's participating. Uh, does that mean that he's happy? Or am I doing it to make myself happy? You see what I mean?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it may be helpful to just always ask that question. It's like,
Right,
yeah, it's your standard of what you want for him, and there's his standards of what would really, the simple things he may need to make him happy.
exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
No sound.
For some parents, they're not going to be happy until their kid ends up in Harvard, no matter what.
Right.
That's a great recipe for those high standards.
Mm-hmm.
Just ensures you're going to be very unhappy from
Right.
yeah, you're
For
going to be very unhappy.
a certain profession, like you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, regardless of what they want to do because of the parents' pressure, whatever.
And you certainly don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer to be happy. I mean, I've met plenty of doctors and lawyers who are not happy people.
Yep. Yes, I do know some too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
You could be a lot happier just working at a pizza place and having your weekends off,
yep,
or happier just having the freedom to figure out your own way instead of doing what everybody else wants you to do.
yep, not societal pressure. Well, thank you so much because I feel like even though this is something probably I know myself, but by speaking with you, you made it clear for me. Yeah.
And I hope this conversation here really showed you the importance of validating what you feel.
Hmm.
You may not like that fear, but this is what it's all connected to. Yeah, and making the space to really let it up is how you're going to build that resiliency.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's feel what we feel, correct?
Really letting yourself feel what you feel.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to make sense right here, right now. but by making space, honoring what it is,
Mhm.
give it time, you can see how it's all interconnected.
Okay. So
And
there's no
what
good
was
or
I just want to say the best way to really be this loving, to give your child the great life that you want for him
Mhm.
is to really fill yourself up with that love. With when the next guy comes up to you and says, "Well, hey, can you leave?" It's to say everything you would have said, and to
Mhm.
say it proudly,
Mhm.
and to go on having a great time with your kid.
Thank you, Dr. Donny.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like you're well on halfway there. Honor what you feel.
Honor what I feel.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, Dr. Donny. You have a good one.
So welcome. You are so welcome. You too.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Good luck. Anytime. Anytime. Hmm. Let's process some of that for a minute. Let's process some of that for a minute. That was that's the first time I've had somebody come with an autistic child. I think I've had a few people come who had autism themselves, but not an autistic parent. I really wanted to do my best to focus on what she's experiencing, not the child themselves. Hmm. And of course, children bring up so much of our own issues, right? And we're always worried, our children are going to pick up on that. They're very sensitive. They're gonna pick up on that. So it's just really important to honor that anxiety we're feeling. Yeah, we're not doing ourselves any favors by hiding it, numbing it, stuffing it. It isn't pleasant, and but making space to honor it for what it is just the best way we can slowly get in touch with it so we can turn it into something loving, positive, something healing in our lives. And I should just say, I'm not saying these words just for the work I did with this person. I am saying them for me in my own life. It's getting in touch with fear isn't pleasant. I mean, sometimes it is, here and there, but by and large, I have to say it's not very pleasant. I haven't found it to be very pleasant. Um, and making the space, finding a safe space to sit with and honor that fear a little bit every day turns fear into a friend. Maybe not your closest friend, but a friend you absolutely can call and you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. And I think the more you get in touch with that fear, I mean, maybe one day it does turn into excitement. Fear and excitement technically are the same thing. It's just that if you can't handle it, you feel fear. And if you can handle it, you feel excitement. Boy, having a child with autism, that's a difficult one. That's a very difficult one. And if she had said things about needing patience, that would have been, I, you know, I could see someone having a hard time with that. I didn't expect her to say some of the things she said around people having those kinds of nasty comments toward her child. Very surprised to hear that. And what it shows me there is people are going to judge, focus on their needs, and not think about you. People are going to do that. People are going to do that. People will use their children to do it. That is just the way of it. That is how people work. That is how people work. And and if we get good at boundaries, then they have the right to act how they want to act, and then I can act what I feel is right for me. Every person who challenged me in my life, which there are many, is here to teach me how to stand up and honor my own boundaries. And that's something that I can say as a Black queer person, I am very much working on Honoring my feelings, honoring my boundaries. The whole planet may burn up, but I'm gonna honor these boundaries, damn it. I'm gonna learn. Okay, so that being said, it's 5:05. Take a little pause here. That was some great information there. So thankful for that person coming over. Let's just take a little pause and say welcome to anybody new who may have shown up. Hello and welcome. And if you can hear me, feel free to let me know how you are feeling today. This is Talk Time with Dr. Donny. And if you have anything going on or any feelings you'd like to share or anything, feel free to just let me know. Or otherwise, I will talk for a little bit more and just share my feelings, share some knowledge about how feelings work. I really can't stress enough the
I've
importance.
been feeling
Oh,
incredibly. I've
oh, hey
been feeling.
there.
Hello, Dr. Donny. I've been having. I heard you mention anxiety when I joined just a couple of minutes ago. So I'm racked by anxiety. It seems to be in everything that I do. And I mean, I'm having physical reactions to my anxiety. And It's something that I need to learn how to manage. It's something that I need to come to terms with. Um, I have a lot going on in my life at the moment. Um, um, uh, um, uh,
So let's just breathe.
but
Just breathe. For every one of those things you got going on, just give yourself a nice deep breath. Nice slow deep breath. That anxiety. Most important thing I said is just to honor that feeling. Just breathe and let's scan our body, see where we feel the anxiety. If you don't mind, can you describe where you feel it? Or let me know if I'm on the money here.
in my stomach.
Okay.
Um,
What does it feel like in your stomach?
um, Sometimes it manifests as physical pain. So like a knot in my stomach. I get a sensation of pain sometimes from the anxiety.
Where else do you feel anxiety?
Pardon?
Where else do you feel anxiety?
In my chest, in um um sometimes it feels like um uh, um my pulse seems to increase. Sometimes I have a um like a rush of um blood through my body.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, just breathe. Just breathe. Describing it sure makes it feel more intense. So just breathe. And if it helps, if there's an image that runs through your mind when you're feeling this anxiety, try to find something in that image that you don't care about at all. So, if you're envisioning an argument, you might imagine the floor tiles, or if it's a bill that's not getting paid and you're sitting there holding the bill, You might want to imagine the glue on the envelope, something you have no opinion about at all. Just anchor into that. Try to see this fear from a bit of a distance. So we have techniques for really getting in touch with our feelings, describing them, putting them into words, scanning our body. And then we have techniques for giving ourselves some distance from our feelings, focusing on something we don't care about so we can see this fear. And in that space, just taking note of this anxiety, are there any, well, first, take note of any attempts to manipulate and control things that are beyond your control. That's where a lot of fear often comes from. We try to control things that we just can't control. I want it to rain tomorrow. It's gotta rain tomorrow. I have a, what do you do in the rain? I'm making soup tomorrow and it's gotta rain tomorrow so I can make this soup. And then it doesn't rain, and then you feel all kinds of fear, but you have no control over it. It's really important, and you have no control. So just to recognize all the things that we don't really have control over, that's number one. You want to share any of those?
I've been told that the only thing I have control over is myself. So I'm in a relationship with myself. Everything else is outside of me. So I don't have control over that.
Okay. So one of those things you have anxiety about, what's
Um,
the thing you're controlling?
Maybe everything from relationships to um,
Yeah.
to um, sustaining a roof over my head. Everything, everything I haven't got control over. I'm trying to manage or manipulate. Um,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, so it's wise to say you only have control over yourself. But the truth is we don't even have that. We don't even have that. We're all doing our best, keeping the roof over our head, navigating our relationships. And we're doing our best and we don't have control. You can do everything you can to keep your apartment, and then the job just doesn't work out. There's a downturn, there's layoffs. Dude leaves you because of the layoffs. Who knows? Things are all happening to somebody. And then constantly being afraid of or being worried, it won't, thinking, oh no, it could happen to us, makes us feel all kinds of anxious. Okay, so that's one place we often try to have control. If we get some things, we get a job, get a partner, and if we have control by trying to make them stay or do whatever it takes to keep this job. And a lot of that is outside of our control. It's just a full acknowledgement of that. Holding on to something that is outside of our control can only make us anxious.
I'm also middle-aged now, and someone suggested that I might be having a midlife crisis. That might be one of the causes of my anxiety. I don't know about that. I just know that I'm trying to work out what's um, important to me in my life now, and what I want from um, my life in the future. And what I've seem to be doing actually now is starting again in life. I've come to the understanding that um, there are things that I could have that I don't have that would maybe make it easier for me to sustain relationships and do all of the things that um, I need to do in life. Um, and so I'm coming to the understanding that um, if I start again with the knowledge that I have about um, what I'd like in life, so if I start again, um, I will I could create a more pleasant life for myself. Um, um, Based on the understanding of what I'd like in life. So I'd like more relationships or better quality relationships, and um, but um, having those goals means having to make changes to the life that I currently have. Um, and so it really feels like starting again in life. Um, um,
And
and
oh yeah. Oh, when you say starting again, that makes you feel what?
well, when I say starting again, I mean um, um, I'm 40 years of age, and when I say starting again, it makes me feel um,
Yeah.
um, uh, it makes me feel
Just breathe into that.
it makes me feel a lot when I say that. Um, um, it makes me feel panic. Um, uh, Panic that I'm the age that I am, um, and that life could be so much more than what I already have. Although someone's mentioned gratitude, um, um, it's just that I feel being alive for the length of time that I have been alive for, um, that life could have been and still could be so much better. Um, but then there are limits, know your limits. Um, so there are things to sort of consider, like, how, well, how long is it going to take me to put things into place, um, so that I can have the quality of life I feel I desire? Um, um, and how long am I going to even live for? Um, um, and what am I compromising? So what do I have that I'd like to keep? Um, so it just does make me feel panic. Uh, um, um, uh, it's about taking risks, um, uh, and taking a chance. And I've been told, if you never do something, you never know. Um, but what I see is that um, uh, what I feel, and it might not be correct. It's a feeling. It might not be a fact, but what I feel is that I'm in a rut, so I'm stuck. I'm on a wheel. I'm possibly repeating um, uh, I'm possibly repeating my mother's experience of life. And I'm not even sure why I should want to take that into consideration. I'm just having a very thorough look at what are my priorities. And I suppose one of my priorities are to be the best that I can be, and to live my life. And there are just things that I need to consider in order to do that. But that is just creating panic and anxiety, and it's actually quite stressful. You
Yeah.
have understanding that life isn't what life could be, and there's dissatisfaction in that.
Yeah, and that dissatisfaction probably adds to the panic as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
But just to make space to honor all those feelings, just to breathe into each one, to feel where you're holding on to it in your body, to give it, to validate that you have every right to feel this feeling the way it's coming out right here, right now. A midlife crisis. A midlife crisis is really just another word for um, reevaluating your identity. And so a lot of people, did all the things they were told to do, and then suddenly in midlife, they find themselves it didn't work out like they thought it would. They're not the person they thought they were. And that is the discrepancy between your ideal and reality is the crisis. That is the crisis. Just to honor that there's a difference there between what you thought it would be and what it is. There's always going to be a difference between what you thought it would be and what it is. Every vacation I ever took in my life is what I thought it would be when I got on the plane, and then there's what it actually was. Every experience, there's always a discrepancy between the plan, the thoughts, and what actually happens. So, I mean, if you keep focusing on the thoughts, then your actual experience is always going to, or most of the time, be lacking. I'm supposed to have, a six-figure salary and a three-story house by now. Oh, well then, I only have a two-story house, and I have a good salary and great friends and a great life. But now it doesn't mean anything anymore because I'm supposed to have my comparison was against the six-figure salary and a three-story house. So those comparisons cause us a lot of anxiety, a lot of anxiety. Most of us come from the land of high standards where because of school and jobs and family and our society, we're constantly taught we need more, things should be better. It will be better if you buy this, and this. So a midlife crisis is really an opportunity to reevaluate all of this, all the standards you've been holding yourself up to, all the comparisons you've been making in your life. How do you feel about all of it? You may have been pushing yourself, pushing yourself for decades now in a direction that maybe ain't right for you. So even the idea of pushing yourself in a different direction, even if it's something easy, even if it's just, stop working early and go to the park, even that could be like, you know, Sisyphus pushing the boulder uphill. It could feel impossible because you spent 20 years doing something else. Um, yeah, if you spent 20 years going to work and doing financial computing, the idea of just being creative and buying a guitar and sitting around and playing it, that might feel like a total foreign concept. If you spend all your time working and avoid relationships, finally getting into a relationship is going to feel really strange. If you spend your whole life in unhealthy relationships, finally getting into a healthy one is going to feel really strange. So a crisis is also an opportunity to re-examine everything, everything, every thought, animal, vegetable, mineral. It was a lizard yesterday, and today you process some feelings, and today maybe it's not a lizard anymore. Maybe it's something else today. It's an opportunity to re-question everything. Who said that life needs to look like anything? So many different people in the world and so many different ways of living. If 40 years went by and you found a whole bunch of ways that didn't work for you, well, hopefully the good Lord keeps you around so you can spend another 40 figuring out what does. I guess I could also say that magical point where it all gets figured out and you finally are living the good life now and everything is finally okay so you can relax. That's not coming. That's not coming. That's not coming. That's all psychological coping mechanisms. Life just goes on and on and on till it's over. And the only actual moment that exists is this moment. This moment. You keep waiting for the future, and this moment is the only moment that's going to happen. At some point, I suppose I will retire. I can't know I'll retire because the only moment I can really do anything about is this moment. I can only understand retirement from the perspective of this moment. Whether that works out well for me or not in the future, well, can I be happy in this moment? Let's start there. If I can pull off, being happy in this moment, I'll think about projecting 20 years into the future for my happiness. 20 years ago, I thought I would just be happy now, and I'm working through it. So that tells me I need to stay in the present moment and work through what I'm presently experiencing. So, if I feel all this anxiety, and then I go off and try to get that relationship and try to get the right job, well, if I'm feeling that much anxiety, I can't even sit still. If I'm feeling that much anxiety, I can't even, cook a meal. So can I give myself compassion for having all this anxiety? This anxiety is reflective of how I treat myself. And on one hand, I'm telling myself I care. So that's good. That's good. And on another hand, I am really burning my energy. I'm not helping myself here by having all this anxiety. The partner that would show up and see me all anxious like this, they might not stick around. I would stress them out too. And if you would like healthier relationships, the number one place to start is to build a healthier relationship with yourself. How am I treating myself when I get anxious? How can I be kinder to myself when I don't have all the answers? Can I honor my own pain? Or do I just numb it, stuff it, avoid it, blame other people for it? Can I honor my own pain? Just sit with it for what it is. Breathe into it. I have every right to feel the anxiety that I am feeling. Anyone who went through what I went through in life would feel that way. And I don't have to have an answer. I can give it time, space, and rest. Whatever happens when I can't think of an answer, there's always time and space and rest. And the truth is, if there's no time, if it's over, well, then there's nothing to worry about. If the good Lord says it's over, well, then there's nothing else to worry about at that point. So, if there's a higher power out there, He's giving us time so we can figure it out. She is out there giving us time so we can figure it out. All my feelings are needed to be whole. That relationship I want, they want a whole person in that relationship. I need to work on what can I do to be a whole person. Let myself feel all of my feelings. How can I love myself through this crisis? How can I love myself through this crisis? Don't have to have all the answers. Just one answer in this moment is a place to start. I can breathe more. When I get really anxious, I feel like I can't take it anymore, I call a friend. When I get really anxious, I look at what I'm comparing myself to. Although I should say I just started doing that recently. I look at what I compare myself to, and then I look at how I'm making myself afraid. What kind of expectation am I putting on me? Just spelling it out, you can sort of see how it's just too much. Most of the time, it's too much. We're taught in school to aim for the A plus, but in life you can get by just fine with the C. Okay, you just gotta show up, stick around long enough, smile a little bit. You just gotta put in that little bit. You ain't gotta kill yourself to get the A plus. But thinking you have to get the A plus is that high standards thing. High standards lead to a lot of loneliness. I'm really seeing that. Because there's so many things you just can't accept if you keep having high standards. It's like abusive. It's like abusive, really. I mean, it's important to have realistic standards. And it's important to believe in yourself. I'm just going to say it. Constantly having high standards, being trained as a child into having super high standards, it's abusive. It's abusive. Children need to feel good for the effort they put into things so they can build it up over time. But if you lived in a world where you ever constantly felt like, oh, it's not good enough, oh, it's not good enough, I would say that's abusive. We learned blame and shame and abuse as a way to manage our lives. That's not that's a great thing that will teach you how to have a crisis later on. Oh yeah, can I make space? The childhood stuff. The childhood stuff is really the where a lot of this is located. You could have gone through a whole childhood of constantly being told it's not good enough. And then you become an adult. You would have to live out, that way of thinking. You never learned anything else. But if you had a friend who was looking at you, seeing the stress you're going through, the anxiety, what would that friend tell you? You know, keep it simple. Chill the fuck out, man. Take a deep breath. One day at a time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Do you really need any of those things to be happy? How can I give myself compassion for dealing with the hard moments of my life? I mean, somebody's got to give me compassion here for these hard moments. No one else is doing it. It's got to be me. This anxiety is here to say, hey, I need compassion. I need compassion. I have been through it. Can you listen? Can you hear me? Can you feel my pain? Can you let this out? I don't want to hold this in anymore. And those fears can run real deep. So whatever you need to get those feelings out, shaking and crying, I highly recommend getting in the car and screaming at the top of your lungs once a day. Practice getting that stuff out. Because if you don't get it out, you'll just start going into thoughts and thoughts and thoughts and thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. You know, 1 out of every 10 thoughts is bound to be something kind of useful. But the other 9 out of 10 are largely just trying to manage the feelings and it's not working very well. So the other 9 out of 10 really could go. Really could go. So we could just breathe instead. Get in touch with that feeling. Honor that we have every right to feel what we are feeling right now, and this is what it takes for us to heal. Wholeness. Wholeness. Bring those feelings into your heart. Feel them in your heart. Not in the head. What do I do about it? No need to do. Bring it all into the heart and let yourself feel. Jeff Bezos managed to go into outer space. That guy cannot process his feelings. Okay, so if you learn how to process your feelings, you are doing better than Jeff Bezos. Okay, You're doing better than a billionaire. Okay, that's some real riches, if you ask me. That's a real successful life. Letting yourself feel your feelings. Your feelings are like colors, you know. You need all of them for a full painting, especially the ones you would rather probably avoid. So the anxiety, actually, fear and excitement are actually the exact same thing. It's just that when we think we can't handle something, it turns into fear. And when we think we can handle it, it turns into excitement. So if you were having a crisis and you totally think you can handle this, it's snap together and solve this problem, you would move out of fear very quickly into excitement. Also, fear and anger do not exist in the same places in the brain. So all the things you have fear over, if you get angry about them, which, like I said, the screaming, it can help there also. Getting angry about them can bring up all those feelings too. So it's not fair that, at middle age, you suddenly have to rethink all this crap. Not fair that the system doesn't do more to support us as to figure out our right path in life. Let yourself get angry about these things and really help you open up to these feelings, transform these feelings, and it'll help you speak to other people. Also, you can share your frustrations with other people. Everything you mentioned, from what I heard, every older person is going through. Many older people are going through these things. Many. I myself went through my own phase of some of this as well. About a month ago, when I got tenure. And I was like, all right, I did it. I got the big accomplishment. I am the successful one. Boom, I did it. And then I had a whole feeling of, well, now what? Well, I put all this energy to accomplishing this goal. What's the next goal? Do I need a goal? Who am I if I don't have a goal? This goal was the goal I spent 30 years trying to make a reality. So who am I now that this goal is suddenly over? Those are some scary feelings to sit with. And what I discovered was I don't need to be anything. I this moment, all that work I did to get that PhD brought me to this moment, this here now with you. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's all anyone needs is this moment. All that other stuff is just extra baggage, just attachments. I guess the other thing what came up for me is I realized how much baggage that I had been holding on to all this time that I had been ignoring. I was so focused on the goal of getting tenure. Once that goal was out of the way, all the baggage was kind of right there and just sitting there. And it's time to unpackage all the baggage. That's what a crisis is for. That's why the word crisis and opportunity are, I think, the same word in some language. Take the pressure off. Take the pressure off. Who knows what the future is supposed to look like for any of us? And the moment you start to think about it, it just brings on fear. It just brings on fear. So, so giving ourselves some grace might mean today, there's only so many hours before midnight happens wherever you are in the world. Until that midnight hits, how about not thinking about the future and just staying present here? Being present with the feelings that come up here now. You can always, pick up and worry about the future tomorrow. It's going to be there, more than likely. So just to give yourself a few hours of not trying to pull a future together. Which is, the future is all imagination anyway. It doesn't really exist. So it's very stressful to constantly keep creating something in your head. It doesn't really exist. Just honor these feelings. Honor these feelings and track them back to childhood. There's probably a little kid there who had these feelings and they didn't get honored back then. The real you, deep inside. Just get good at really listening. Not just kind of listening, not the 25% listening. Not I'm listening and the TV's on. Really 100% sinking into these feelings. Coming back to the body. Seeing where you feel these things. Giving yourself a lot of compassion. A lot of compassion. You couldn't possibly have all the answers. You can't do it perfect. You're figuring it out. You're doing the best you can, just like everyone else. How do you feel about any of that?
Um, Compassion. I'm glad. I'm really, really glad that you asked me and anyone experiencing what I'm experiencing to be compassionate for themselves. That you know, to look after myself.
Oh, that's a nice way
Um,
to put it.
I don't find that easy. Um, and pain. So I am in a state of pain. Me,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and that's okay. It's just important to honor the pain. The worst thing about pain is we feel it and then we bury it. It don't feel good coming up, but it can feel like pulling out a nail. But, I mean, what's worse? Well, yeah, what's worse? Pulling out a nail or just stuffing it down deeper so you hope you won't numb out to it and not feel it. And just that acknowledgement, I am in pain. I'm not just, I don't know what to do with my life and lost. I'm not just feeling anxious. I have pain underneath all this. And it could be a little bit of pain like a nail. You may be feeling an entire ocean of pain inside. That could just be the truth of it. Just to honor the pain that's there and make space to let it up. Whew. Yeah, whatever it takes to let it up. Finding a safe place to cry, a safe place to scream, tapping, hugging, my stuffed animals. Stuffed animals, whatever you need to deal with these feelings. Hmm. Yeah, honor that pain. Hmm. Yeah, if you could hear anything from this conversation, all those wonderful things you just said, all those wonderful things you just said, and to prioritize really taking the time to let out the pain. It might sound crazy, just, screaming in your car once a day or putting your head in a pillow and screaming in the pillow. But doing that just once a day will actually train your body to let out the pain instead of holding it in, which most of us are good at doing, are expertly good at doing. Nobody's here right now. Hey, nobody's here right now at all. I'm gonna scream. Let me get a pillow. Let me find a pillow. Let's see. Okay. They demonstrate. So important. So important. So, think about that stuff, that midlife crisis stuff. You don't know where you're turning to in life. The relationships aren't working like you thought they would. And how does that make you feel? Just stick your head in the pillow and let it out. Like, yeah, like that. Oh. And think about all the times that little kid wanted to scream and got told to kids are better seen and not heard. Quit crying, I'll give you something to cry about. There could be all sorts of muffled kid screams down there.
Mhm. Okay. We talked a lot about fear today, anxiety, fear. Fear is the hardest emotion. It's the hardest. It really is. Fear is really asking us to be really
loving and kind to ourselves. Until you learn how to give yourself unconditional love, it's going to feel like fear. But fear is leading us toward unconditional love. You may not feel that way because it feels super scary. So hopefully the things I mentioned are tools you can use to help yourself manage your fear. Validating what you feel, making space to feel it, screaming into your pillow. Honoring the pain. Pain stands for pay attention inside now. I need compassion, compassion here. Please, please listen to me. Okay. Okay. On that note, I just want to take a moment and just say thank you all. Thank you so much for sharing your life with me, for sharing your fears with me, for listening, for being willing to breathe and make space for these feelings. I really honor that. I really honor that. I hope what I offered helps in some way. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to come next week where we're going to start working through some examples of how to get in touch with our feelings. Next week, I believe we're gonna do some what's next week? I'm gonna draw some faces. We're gonna go through a list of feeling words. So next week, feel free to come for future classes because there's gonna be a lot of exercises you can learn if you come to this class, and then you can apply those to your life. And the more you know, the more you can get in touch with what's going on, and it won't feel so scary. It won't feel so scary. I can promise you that. Okay. Until next week, good luck with your thoughts and feelings. If you have anything to ask, by all means, feel free to shoot me an email. I recommend this channel, this page, this video to other people. We all have a hard time with our feelings. Communicate, yeah. Talk about your feelings with other people. The more you can share these things, the more we can all help ourselves. We all help each other to learn and grow and heal. Do you have anything else you want to say before we close?
Thank you.
Oh, I really felt that. I felt that. Thank you. You are very welcome. On that note, thank you so much, beautiful spirit. All right, have a good night. Have a good afternoon, rest of your day. Good luck with your feelings. Good luck sitting with your feelings. You are worth it. Yeah, a real accomplishment. Better than what a billionaire could do, okay? Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.